welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And this week we're going to be talking about what we would tell our X-year-old or younger self.
Yes. Before we get too deep into it, you can check us out at YouTube, Spotify, or TikTok. Our handle is at Chaos Chronicles Podcast.
Podcast. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. And that's Chaos Chronicles with an S podcast.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be more conversational. We didn't really lay this one out. This is just kind of a conversation that we've had, God, I don't know how many times over the years.
It just randomly comes up within conversations. We're like, I wish I could go back and tell 16-year-old self me this. So yeah, this is, not really, it is unscripted, but not like any of our other podcasts have been scripted. We have an outline.
There's a general outline.
Guidelines.
Yeah.
Talking points.
Talking points, yeah.
There we go.
This one we don't really have talking points, so we're just gonna, navigate the randomness.
Yeah.
I think
You said that right.
I did. I think I added an additional consonant.
No.
An additional consonant. Oh, I think that Excedrin caffeine is kicking in.
All right, here we go.
Brought to you by drugs. Don't do drugs. Or do if they're prescribed. On that happy note, why don't we start young? What do you wish you could tell, preschool, elementary school, kindergarten age Jess?
Feel free to be yourself and have fun. I remember from very, very early on, I was so terrified about how others perceived me as, and maybe that's how I was brought up, but it was always if you do this, people are going to think this. If you're going to do that, others will think this. And I was always so worried about that I was too busy with that to have fun.
Same. I remember vividly expressing myself, because I was a high energy child. That should come as no surprise after watching several episodes. I was a high energy child, and I had so much fun just being my weird, quirky self.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember getting the weird looks, or just not being treated very well by peers or by teachers, or even reactions from parents to a degree, where you very quickly learn that you need to bring yourself in, you need to make yourself smaller if you want
to be presentable to everyone else.
You have to be presentable.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not, and of course, as a child, you do have to learn how to exist with others. So to a degree.
Yeah, but to an extent, there is an extent there.
Yeah, but it would have been good if someone had told, just like you said, if I had been able to go back and tell myself, it is okay to be you. Yes, mm-hmm. Be respectful, be polite. Just do all that, but also stay true to who you are. You don't have to make yourself smaller so that other people are more comfortable, which honestly is something I could say to myself every year. Just a nice reminder.
Yeah, I feel especially in those younger years, maybe young preschool me, but I became almost like a chameleon in whatever environment I was in, going through elementary school, middle school. I would react because of how others would react.
Yep.
I would 100% play off of what was going on. It didn't matter what I thought, it mattered what they thought.
Oh yeah. And that is just kind of the nature of the beast of society and just growing up in a school environment, because you quickly see how the weird kid is treated.
Yeah.
And I remember learning who the weird kids were.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that they were weird. I'm okay, well, it's kind of weird that they eat paper with glue on it. That part's a little odd. But, they're not a bad person. But everyone's no, they're gross. They're icky. Because that's what you hear as kids, is gross and icky. So then you don't have the words to understand that, okay, they have a different thing that they like, but they're not a bad person. So because it's not exactly what you think it's supposed to be, it's a gross person. It's icky. And then that label gets stuck on that person for years.
Yes.
It's just so bizarre. think it's
Kids
ugly.
are brutal.
Kids are awful. I love kids, don't get me wrong. But
some of them are just no filter, just so honest. I'm like, you should be honest, but like, be nice.
Yeah, so there is, and this is something that I wish we had told kids, is that there is a difference between being honest, being blunt, and being cruel.
Yes, those are 3 totally different things.
Very different. And honestly, there's some adults that need to hear this.
Oh, absolutely.
Mainly men that need to hear it that I can think of, personally. But like... Both. And there was some women too.
Yeah.
But it's like... When you're being honest with someone, you don't have to be mean. There can be times where you can pull someone aside and be like, hey, okay, I don't know what's going on, but how you've been snapping lately, or, you know, what you have been pursuing in your free time, I don't know that that's, you know, very good for you, you know, like, what's going on? That's an honest, open conversation. Being blunt is you can be like, hey, what the fuck is going on with you?
Yep.
And then being cruel is where you have the judgment in there, and it's like, what the fuck is going on with you? You are a stupid motherfucker, and blah, 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 blah. Yep. And like, all the meanness that comes with it, because it's not coming from a place of helping. Yeah. And that's more like as you get older, but letting kids know that when they're young.
So they know, like, even if you think these, like, be nice.
Yeah. It's like, be nice. If you notice someone, like, oh, I wish I had told myself this when I was younger, because this circled back into having to be acceptable, presentable, fit the mold, is I wish I would have implemented sooner my 30-second versus 5-minute rule. Have I told you that one? Mm-hmm. So when I interact with others or with even myself, I have 2 separate rules for if something is wrong. 30-second rule is something like someone has spinach in their teeth, mm-hmm. or, you know, their hair is a little woppy. Something that you can fix in 30 seconds, let the other person know. Like, just be real quick. Like, hey, you got something in your teeth. You got to blow your nose. Like, hey, fix it. 30 seconds. That you can point out to them. 5 minutes might be something more like, hey, something's, like, not going on well with your outfit. Like, I can see, like, a shirt keeps falling or a bra strap keeps falling out. It looks like you might need a belt. Like, let me see how I can help you. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a 5-minute thing. Those things you can bring up. Anything outside of that, I don't bring up. Like, if someone's got a weird laugh, don't say anything about it. Like,
no,
never.
Because then they're going to become very self-conscious about it.
Oh, yeah. I still cover my mouth when I laugh. Just because someone made a comment about how messed up my teeth were before I had braces. And they would point out specifically when I laughed. So this is now 15 plus years later.
You still do it.
Yeah. I still will go like this out of habit. Mm-hmm. Like, those are the things you don't say.
Yep.
But it would have helped. Looking back, there are moments, it's mainly in middle school when you feel all that pressure.
Looking back, there is so much I would love to tell my middle school self.
Right.
That is such a brutal age period. So much changes in those 3 years.
Yeah, you feel like an alien in your body.
Pretty much, yeah.
It sucks. And like, I see one of my nieces going through it. She's 10. Correction. She's 10 and a half. She will be 11 this July. She's already planning her birthday party. She's at the age where she still likes birthday parties. But I can see the hormones starting in her. And she tells me the stories of kids on the bus calling her and her friend fat.
Yeah.
And also calling them monkeys. Yeah. Yeah. Kids are mean and other swear words, which she doesn't know. And so she's coming and asking her mom and us of like, hey, what does this mean? And we're like, oh.
Not good.
Not good, because they're all just they're so uncomfortable in their own bodies that they take it out by attacking everybody else. Mm-hmm. Which I'm not saying I didn't do the same. Like, not at school. I did it at home more of just being uncomfortable and then bitchy with my family.
Yeah.
Because we were raised in the same way. You don't act out in public.
No. Mine was always behind closed doors. If you're going to have emotions, you have to do it behind closed doors. Same. No one needs to see it.
Same.
Yep. I just remember trying to understand how to manage hormones. Like, I think this happened when I was in 7th grade. I had just started, it was either 6th or 7th grade. I had just started my period. I was trying to figure out, like, hormones and stuff. Like, you don't understand.
Time. No, it's a scary thing. And
It's
everyone's
terrifying.
telling you, like, oh, you're a woman now. The fuck I am.
Well, it's like, teach me how to handle my emotions. Because I still remember the name of the book. It was called Forgotten Fire. We all had to read a different World War II book and do a book report on it. And then we had to present them in front of the class, like a little snippet of it or whatever. So I was up there, and as I was talking, I just started sobbing in front of the entire class. I was mortified.
Yep.
Because I couldn't control my hormones. And of course, World War II book, this is not a happy-go-lucky thing either. And that, from the little, it would be fun to go and re-explore that book, but like the little I remember of the book, it was really good. But it was so, so sad. Like, it ended so sad. And I mean, like, well, I'm sure you can imagine the sad things that came out of World War II.
I know. And it is hard because, like you said, there's all those emotions. But we were told, those emotions, you need to control them.
Yep.
We were not taught how to manage them. You were just told to shove it down. Like, all the time. Yeah.
But yeah, trying to navigate hormones when everyone around you is just telling you to suppress it, that's not helpful.
No.
Like, when you're trying to deal with anger or sadness, frustration, you don't know how to react to it because you're always taught, oh, you're going to start crying, go to your room. Oh, you're going to be mad about this, go to your room.
Or you're grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, like, don't get me wrong, the grounded part, if I had to tell my, like, 5th through 8th grade, those were the really rough years for me. Like, that's when the hormones were going nuts.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that I am a very strong-headed person. I have been since frickin' inception.
She's Italian.
I'm Italian Irish. Like, I'm just hard-headed. And so my mom and I would always butt heads because she does not handle being questioned very well by her children, which is fair. I understand it now. But so she and I would butt heads a lot, and I wouldn't accept an answer unless I thought it was satisfactory or I got further answers, which, as you may have already seen in videos, I like to ask further questions. I need my clarifying questions answered.
And I'd be like, Connie, I don't have them, but I need them.
It's who I am. And my mom did not like that. So I got grounded a lot. But it would have helped if I had known, like, hey, in those times, instead of reacting with, forcefulness and just going and being pushy, it's okay to take a step back and go, okay, I'm asking these questions because I don't understand and I want to understand. And if I understand, I'll be able to accept this a lot better.
Yeah.
And if I had had the ability to navigate through my emotions and say that, I would have been ungrounded. Like, I spent most of 5th and 6th grade grounded, and I probably wouldn't have if I had been able to go through that. But the only emotions that I was really taught to handle was, go to your room, control it, or it was use your anger and put it into words. Like, don't fight. No physical fighting.
Yeah.
But, like,
use words.
Use your words. Oh,
I know. I didn't want to say that phrase.
I felt it just bubble up, and I'm like, oh,
use your words.
I know. But
oh gosh.
The funny thing is, I say that to Zeus all the time. When he's being sassafrassy, and I don't know what he wants, I'm like, use your words. I did that in front of Johnny one time. He goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, yes, no, but I'm expecting him to answer me.
No, that's a phrase that a certain someone used to use with me a lot when I would get very upset. Which, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go check out our toxic relationships episode.
Mm-hmm.
he would bring that up, use your words, and then that just made me so mad, and then I couldn't answer.
Oh, if my partner used that on me, I think I would go quiet too, but only because the words that would next come out of my mouth would be relationship ending. But that's just because of me. Because that to me is like, you as my partner don't get to talk to me like a parent.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah, I had a lot of issues from childhood, not knowing how to control my emotions, and so here I am going into, I don't know, what was I, 20, 21 at that point, not knowing how to, like, when I get really upset, like sad or whatever, just upset, I couldn't talk my way through it. If someone came and like demanded answers, I just shut down. I couldn't say a word. I was frozen. And that's kind of the repercussions of not being taught when you're children how to work through these issues.
Yeah. And I do feel like I should clarify, because I believe my mother would watch this episode. This isn't all on parents.
Oh, no.
No. Like, it's on teachers, it's on other adults. Like, it ultimately takes a village to raise a child. Mm-hmm. And so I do wish that there had been more positive examples, and models of how to manage that behavior. Because I recognize that the adults, the way we grew up, when they would have those emotions because of the carryover of how they were raised, you did remove yourself. Emotions are not, what are you doing? What are you doing with emotions?
Emotions are not welcome.
No. So they would remove themselves. Like, I remember teachers getting so frustrated, which God bless teachers' souls. Those guys go through so much. But like having to step out of the room for a little bit to like collect themselves, which I can understand as an adult, and you've got a bunch of little shitty ass kids driving you up the wall.
Oh, same. Yeah, same.
I get it.
That's deserved.
It's deserved. And like my parents would remove themselves, and I'm like, I get that. But also what I've noticed in my neighborhood here, because I'm not showing you my neighborhood because that's how you get strangers at your house. But there's kids everywhere here, from newborn to 13.
Yep.
And so I've seen a lot of different parenting approaches, and there's one set of parents. It's actually the cop and his wife.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like what they do because you can see that they will get frustrated because they have a 3 and a 6 and I think it's 4 and 7. So like trying ages, and they will get frustrated, but they will get down to eye level with the kids. And they'll be like, okay, hang on, honey. I'm getting a little frustrated right now. So let's both take a deep breath. Okay. Do you need me to help you take a deep breath? And then they do blow out the candle. Have you seen that? Yeah. So she will hold up her finger and they will both go.
That's
and just
awesome.
blow. And it helps work them down. And I have seen both of their kids come down from like that absolute extreme overstimulated to they can then clearly say what they need in a matter of like a minute.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Which is so helpful because I remember, I'm better at expressing now with words, like what's going on in my head. But just thinking back to those times, from being a small child to, 20s, early 20s, when I was having this issue, it was like, there was so much going on in my head. I couldn't even figure out, like, I couldn't even pull those thoughts out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I couldn't have one consistent, thought.
No, it's hard. And, the way we're talking now makes it seem like it's easy. It's not.
No, it's so difficult.
No, it's an ongoing process. Even just, 2 weeks ago, I ended up in a disagreement with my husband, because argument is too strong of a word. But we both had long days, and then we were trying to just, come down from that. It wasn't really working. And I wasn't able to enunciate and work through what I was trying to say to him is, I just need to feel like a priority right now.
Yeah.
I know you don't love this show that we're watching, but I've told you this show means a lot to me. So the reason I'm asking you, hey, will you please finish this episode with me? Please finish this episode. It's not so much the show. It's that I need to feel like I'm being treated as a priority right now because I'm feeling very unappreciated in my professional and my personal life right now. Yeah. I didn't recognize that the next day until I'm talking to Jess.
Yeah. We work through it together.
You do. And so it's a hard practice, and I wish I had gotten started on this much earlier because I didn't start working on this until my senior year of college,
Yeah.
and that was only because my parents separated and did couples therapy, and so they would bring back a lot of that, a lot of those techniques to us. Which maybe that's the message: is child, Connie, whatever age you are, get therapy. From a good therapist.
Better therapy.
True, we tried that in middle school, and then that lady scarred me for life.
I had a really bad one in high school.
You did have that one too.
Yeah. Another thing, I guess I would tell. How old would I be at this point?
Weren't you 15, 16?
Yeah, I would say somewhere between like 15 and 16 was when this was like the biggest issue for me. But everyone thought that I was anorexic. Everyone was convinced I was anorexic. And like that's a very real thing.
It is. I'm not shaking my head at that.
No, it's a very real thing and it's very serious, but like I did not have that issue.
No, you were actually doing the opposite. You were tracking your calories because you were a triathlete at that point? Tri-sport athlete? Or
some years I wasn't, some years I was. I think that might have been a year that I was.
Yeah, so you were making sure that you had enough calories. That's why you were tracking, because you were noticing that you felt weak.
Yeah. I knew that I wasn't feeling my best, so, you know, once I did get a phone, maybe I was older then, because I don't think I got a phone until I was
I think you were like
16.
Yeah, maybe it was.
I think I got a phone when I was 16. Well, and the calorie counter would have had to have been senior year because I didn't have a smartphone until senior year, so.
That's right.
Somewhere in the high school age, year old Jess. I had a calorie counter on my phone. This was during the winter sports season, because I had just come off of either swimming or cross-country running, which both take a lot of calories.
Yeah.
And then going into cross-country skiing, which, again, takes a lot of calories. And I was seeing this therapist, and, like, my mom would see her before and voice her concerns. And then, which I don't agree with, by the way.
You should have separate therapists. It should be separate.
But, like, her theory or thought behind it was the therapist was like, I'm not getting enough information from you, so I need your mom to tell me what's going on so that I can pull stuff out of you, which I do not agree with.
No. Okay,
I lost my trust in this therapist, like, day one.
I was going to say, that hot take here, if that's what you need to do to get your patient to open up to you, that's not good therapy.
No, and she would also, anything I said to her, she would turn back and tell my mom. So why am I telling you?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That is something that I think we both agree. If we could go back and tell ourselves when we were in therapy, I wish we could have enunciated boundaries better. Because your therapist turned around and told your mom. My therapist went, and school counselor really, went around and told my bullies. The one I confided in her about what I was going through. And she said,
about that.
Yeah.
I think I mentally blocked that out.
Oh, me too. I forget about it until moments, and then like the rage comes back. And she went and told the bullies. She's like, oh, well, Connie said this. And you know, I don't think what really happened. Yeah, so like I lost trust in that system. Don't take that, by the way, either of our experiences, don't take that as don't get help. There are good psychiatrists and psychologists out there. Sometimes you just have to bounce a little to find which one works for you.
Yeah, you definitely have to go shopping and find the good match for you. Obviously, neither of these were good matches for us.
No.
I just remember my mom had noticed on my smartphone there was a calorie counter on there. So she told the therapist. And then the therapist basically attacked me. Not physically attacked, just kind of like accusing me of being anorexic because I had a calorie counter. And I just remember that appointment. All of it was, well, why would you have a calorie counter on your phone if you weren't trying to cut calories? No one has calorie counters on their phone unless they're trying to lose weight. And she just kept laying into me that whole appointment.
Oh my God. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I damn near sprained my eyeballs for rolling them so hard. Oh, God. Well, that tells me she's never been a true serious athlete.
Yeah. Well, it's like I never felt hungry. And which now I'm starting to because of, whether it be supplements or the testosterone that I'm getting now. My hormone panel results were whacked. Go check out that episode if you're curious about all that. But now, maybe it was hypothyroidism for the reason why I wasn't getting hungry. Now, in the past 2 days, I'm starting to feel hunger. This is the first time in my life that I feel hungry.
I was going to say, in our, 9 years of knowing each other, I've only known you to be legitimately hungry, God, a handful of times. And that's when you and I have been going. And then we're like, oh shit, neither of us has eaten. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're actually hungry. Shit, we should do that.
Yeah. And it's usually once I start eating and then I'm like, oh, I am hungry.
Yeah,
but
hypothyroidism.
Now compared to this, I'm like, that actually wasn't hungry. That was my brain just saying yeah, you should be eating. And now I'm like, the hunger pains. I understand why people get so upset or moody when they're hungry. I understand that.
Our husbands. Said with love. It's okay. I can get there too at times.
They do get cranky.
But they're also, they're athletes in their own regard with how much they work out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and they need a lot of calories.
They do need a lot of calories, which is fine. But again, also they know their calories and they know they have to be eating higher calories, which I think Johnny may have tracked in his beginning of his weightlifting journey.
Once you get a hang of or once you figure out this is the amount that I need to eat in a day, and this is good. Once you have that for long enough, a lot of people stop tracking it.
Yep.
Because that's just unnecessary time that you're wasting.
Exactly.
Especially once you know.
Yeah, once you know you're good. And I'm still just mad for you with that therapist. Oh my God.
Also, high school Jess have a backbone. It's okay to say no and stand up for yourself.
Yep. I feel like that is something that I wish I could tell basically every year me is it's okay to say no. Saying no doesn't make you a bad guy. And that means in any situation, not just sex. Because the only time I felt like I was okay to say no was if I was being pushed to do something sexual I didn't want to do. That's a whole other thing. But saying no to, no, I don't want to go buy, a bunch of cookies for all my bullies. And did I tell you about that one?
No.
We had a cafe type window, snack window in our cafeteria in middle school. And I didn't think it was okay to say no because I was always told you have to be nice. Always be nice, be nice, be nice. That is the one thing I've heard my entire life is you need to be nice, you need to be good. And I understand why my parents said it. And they grew up differently than I did. They grew up with backbones that I didn't have. Yeah. So they didn't have a problem saying no. I had that problem saying no. So it got to a point where the bullies who were my quote-unquote friends, acquaintances, they had pushed so much of honey, will you buy us a cookie? Because it was only 25 cents a cookie or something. Yeah. And got to the point where it was happening every day for 8 to 9 people. I was buying stuff because they'd be like, oh, well, how about instead of a cookie, could you get me a cookie and a drink? And I'd be like, oh, well, okay. And I'll just put my code in. Or a couple of them learned my code. And so, yeah. And it got to the point where my mom called the school because I think I had racked up somewhere upwards of $80 or $90 of charges within a month. Which when you're talking 25 cents a cookie, $1 a drink.
Lot.
Yeah. So it got bad, and I had to have teachers step in, and the cafeteria workers, they actually, when I would come up, they would only let me get a certain amount, or they'd say is this actually for you? Is this for someone else? Yeah, because I couldn't say no,
yeah,
because that wasn't being nice. Someone asked for a cookie, which granted now I have a hard time saying no. If someone came up to me and they were I'm hungry, I'd be all right, I'll get you food.
Yep.
I will do that. That's what I do when I lived in the cities. I wouldn't hand out cash to homeless folks. I would hand out food.
Yep.
Because, like, I don't want to say no on that one.
Yeah.
But, like, younger Connie, grow it back, grown. It's okay to say no.
Yeah. And it's, my biggest thing was I don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying, like, you should go out of your way to upset people, but, like, it's okay to upset people from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
It's fine. And your value is not reflected in how other people think of you.
Yeah. No.
It's not. That's something that I've had to struggle with. I've struggled with my whole life, and it's not been until, honestly, like the last 3 years that I've really gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, someone can have their own narrative of me, and I'm the villain in somebody's story. That's fine.
Yeah. I know. It took me until I was very, like, timid and people walked all over me, probably until 4 years ago-ish. I basically had to stand up to a doctor with a patient, like an emergency department doctor, when I dropped off my unconscious patient, and he just wasn't listening to me. Again, I will not go into details, but, like, he basically pushed me to the point where I had to stand up for myself, for my patient. And that was the only way I was going to learn that lesson, was you can stand up to people, but it was me helping someone. I am more than willing to stand up for another person if I'm helping them.
Yes.
But to stand up for me, for whatever reason, my brain just would not let me do that. I just couldn't do it.
And maybe that's what we needed to hear at any age, all ages. Honestly, something we should tell each other every single day is that we are worth standing up for. We are worth standing up for ourselves. Oh, that was actually sweet.
That was really sweet.
Good job, Connie. We are worth it to stand up for ourselves, despite, whatever else we may think during the day or whatever's getting us down. And that's something someone should tell themselves every day, is like, you are worth it to stand up for yourself.
Absolutely.
Good job, Connie.
That was really nice.
No. Is that a 2 paws up?
Yeah. She's using a donut as a pillow. She's using a toy donut to, Ruby is using a toy donut to use as a pillow to sleep on. Yeah.
Her face is like, yeah, what of it?
Yeah.
Those are good. I know there's so many things. I'm trying to think from our other conversations, like, you're worth it to stand up to. Oh, here's something I wish I could tell myself. Younger me, high school me. You should not use dating as a means of, like, socially protecting yourself. Yeah, like, as cliched as it is, love yourself. Don't try to seek that approval through others.
Also, it's okay to be by yourself.
Yes.
That was my biggest thing. My goal was, I have to find someone.
Same.
I think part of that reason was, so I'm the youngest of 4, and my oldest brother, like, I remember my parents were like, he's the golden child. He can do no wrong. And he met his wife in high school. And so I was like, I have to be like them. I have to do that. Because during the time, when I was in high school, I was hanging out with my sister-in-law, like, almost every day. Like, I was with her all the time. And so I was like, that's what I wanted to do. So my main goal was, I have to find a boyfriend who's going to be my husband. And I didn't care about anything else. Well, I cared about other things, but, like...
It was a drive.
Yeah.
A driving factor.
Yeah. So, I just tried to be like, well, this person, that person. But then I was like, oh, red flags. Look at that.
Yeah. That's something we should have told our younger selves, is once you see a red flag...
Go the opposite direction.
Go the opposite direction. Run. Go fast. Like, people, what's the phrase? People show you who they are, believe it.
So There is a new season of Love is Blind on Netflix currently, and I promise this has a point.
I've been hearing about this from my coworkers. Some of those people look douchey as hell, boys and girls.
But one of the girls, she's like, I want a man that's oh no. I want a man that's what's the word? Potential. I want a man that's potential. Like he has the potential already. But she's like, I'm such a fix-a-hoe.
Fix-a-hoe. Oh, no. Okay, honestly.
That used to be me, though.
Yes, and I know a few girls who are still in that boat. Oh, it's like, y'all were not attracted to anyone unless they had red flags. Said with all the...
Yeah, no, that was 100% me, because I'm like, during this time, which I've told you this before, like, I had a green flag literally from freshman to senior year that I could have easily been with at any point, who ended up being a great friend that I no longer talk to, but yeah. I mean, we all lose relationships, it's life.
Just grows apart as you get older.
Yeah. But like, green flag over here, and I'm like, ooh, red flag. Ooh, there's another red. Oh, double red flag? Okay, there we go.
Right? Yep. I can't say I didn't do the same, because girl...
Oh, like, I know you did, but you got a lot better before I did.
Yes and no. But I kind of became a little bit of the red flag. I will acknowledge that. But again, that's because I was using relationships as a defense mechanism, just because I always felt like I was on edge.
Yep.
Because there was always something that a guy wanted from me.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't feel like I can hold a relationship unless they get these things. And the reason I thought that is because I would not do certain things and I was dumped.
Yep.
And like when you're younger, it feels like that means there's something wrong with you. Mm-hmm. Whereas now as an adult, if I was back in the dating pool, which thank God I'm not, but if I was, right, if I was and there was someone that I was really interested in, but if I didn't want to do a certain thing, they're like, oh, it's fine, don't worry. And then the next day they're like, I don't think this is going to work. I'll be like, okay, you can have those things, but you know, it's a little frustrating that my worth and my potential as a partner was so tied up in a physical thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's more of a late middle school, high school age thing.
Yeah, and that's where it was happening.
It's like everyone, like, your relationship was only, like, what rumors they could spread.
Yeah. Oh, that was why I actually ended up dating a guy that I did for so long.
I can see that.
Yeah, because there wasn't rumors about him, because he was such a nice guy. And, like, we were friends, and I was like, he is so nice. No one has anything against him. Yep. So this is, like, the safest option for me to date because of me being, you know, who I am, because I had curves, which... Oh, we'll come back to that in a second, but another thing I wish I could tell younger me, curves do not make you a bad person, okay?
Nope.
They don't. Yes, it can be uncomfortable. Yes, it can be damn right painful when those curves are coming in. But don't feel bad about it. They don't make you inherently sinful.
Yeah, also to piggyback off that, having a lot of guy friends, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There were so many rumors going around that I didn't even know about because I was just oblivious, that, like, because I had so many guy friends.
I can see that being high school, middle school.
Yeah, like, I knew all the guys. I didn't talk to a lot of girls, except for, like, on my sports teams. I would obviously talk to all of them,
But, I mean, like, you knew these folks from sports. You had 3 older brothers. Mm-hmm. Like, I can see you navigating more towards, like, talking to guys because you're just more used to that.
Yeah.
Because navigating girls in a school setting at that age...
So hard.
It's high society.
One main female friend that I pulled into my sports group. And it was like, everyone else, if they... Like, the sports group had no drama, really.
Really? Well, I suppose it depends on the
Well, at least the ski team. Okay. We had, like, no drama other than, like, people would just have fun and, like, flirt with everybody. But that was, like, as much drama as you were going to get on the ski team.
girl, let me tell you, the little bit of sports that I was involved in, and then the sports that I was involved in vicariously through my friends being in it. Woo!
I mean, the swim team had drama.
Of course. Well, it's a bunch of horny teenagers in very little tight swimsuits.
Well, I mean, it's like you got your female and the male, which are 2 different seasons, so you're not male and female,
That's
which
true.
helps. But
it does help.
then you get
that,
a whole
you
bunch of
support
catty
each other.
teenage girls together.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a lot with that one. But yeah, those rumors that I was talking about, that was always in like, it would always stem from like one of my classes that people in my grade would start. I'm like, I don't even talk to you. Why are you starting a bunch of rumors about me?
People just would. Like, there was a ton of rumors about me that I didn't find out when I dated a certain guy. But he went around and he contorted facts, which sucked because he had been a really good friend before we had dated. Which, I mean, it is what it is at that age, like 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
And so it really sucked finding out all these rumors of like, that's not how that happened. That's not how, why is he saying that this is what, it just sucked. So that's why, like, circling back to me becoming a little bit of the red flag was I dated this one guy because he was so nice, because there was no rumors, because I was sick of having guys like be really friendly towards me. And then when I would shut them down of like, I don't want any romantic, I don't want a friends with benefits.
No.
And then I'd get
I'm not that person.
I'm not that person. It's like, just because you think my body looks like something out of one of your weird little shows or internet videos, like, that's not my problem. That's not who I am. So it, like, I dated this guy and I did really like him, but like, it was safe for me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the rumors and stuff stopped because he was such a nice guy. Like, no one disliked him. So it was, wow, this is messed up, and I'm hearing a lot of the like gender role in this, but no one wanted to, or the amount of shit talk I faced was less because that boyfriend had such a good rep. So it wasn't like my character or anything that stopped the rumors.
Yeah.
It was who I was associated with.
It's a rough time. Growing up is a rough time. The biggest thing is like, you will get through it. It gets better. Once you're out of high school, out of college, like, drama goes away. You have your, close-knit people, and it's better. There's so much that goes on in high school, middle school.
It's just so interesting how much priorities shift. Like, my biggest priority, what would drive me is like, how am I being perceived? Because we've already talked about that was a big thing. How am I being perceived physically? Like, what am I doing academically? Where I defined myself for the longest time based on me, the thin, curvy, pretty blonde who got good grades. Like, that was the only mold I would let myself be in, which sounds so like airheaded or like braggadocious. That's not what I'm saying there. It was just like, that is what people expected of me. That is what they would say. They're like, oh, this is, you're, the blonde with the big boobs who's pretty, and like, you get good grades in school. Like, that's who you are. Yeah. And I'd be like, okay. The whole time not being true to my weird self. I'd be like, all right, well, I guess this is who I am. But then as I got older and, being able to cope with problems the way you did in high school when they're high school problems doesn't work as you get older.
No.
And so then you have that identity crisis of, oh my God, have I been stupid this whole time and I like just haven't known it? Because you feel like you're behind the curve.
For me, I was stupid, yes, for sure.
Oh, girl. We just didn't have the control over the emotions, And it is a naivety, which comes with being young, of course.
You just don't know what the real world is.
Yeah, it is hard. But it's like all those mistakes that we made ultimately leads us to who we are today. And I'd like to think that we turned out decent.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are kids outside currently screaming and playing. And
say that sounded like someone might have wiped out and had a little bit of a cry for a second.
Yeah, she's tired.
That's the thing I would have told younger me. Like, I love seeing parents when they now ask, they're like, okay, is it a physical ouch, or did you just get scared?
Yeah, I like that.
I really like that. I'm like, yeah, separate the two, because that also means separating, understanding that your mental health and your physical health are two different things. Mental health was not a thing.
It honestly, mental health, no one talked about mental health.
Sorry, it wasn't a thing that was acknowledged when we were in school. It's a thing. I'm not saying it's not
a thing, but no one talked about it. It was, you don't acknowledge it, you don't talk about it. If you have problems, it's behind closed doors.
No.
Don't talk about it, which was hard with my parents, like navigating all of my issues in high school, because my pediatrician like mandated me go to therapy, which nightmare, like we already talked about. Where was I going with this?
This is what happens when we don't have talking points. I know I've lost myself a couple times, so I'm like, where are we going, train of thought? We're circling back.
I got it. So, like, going to therapy, my family was like, we don't know how to navigate this. We've never had this issue before. Like, you're the first one that has issues. And that's, like, how it was brought up. So I was like, well, what is wrong with me? Yeah. Why am I
Very
messed up?
stigmatizing.
Why is no one else messed up? Yep. You know? And then, honestly, I didn't notice a change in people talking about mental health generally until probably like right before the 2020 crisis, honestly, like before the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
Like just before people were finally starting to open up, like they were opening up on social media, they were like opening up everywhere. Like even, you know, at my work is where I saw the biggest thing, like in EMS, you don't talk about your feelings. Oh, you have a bad call. You just kind of pretend like you're fine. Yep. And then go and be miserable behind closed doors and come back and put on a mask.
Mm-hmm. That's why there's high rates of suicide.
And then, you know, 2020 comes around. Again, I want to emphasize, just before the whole COVID stuff, they really started focusing on mental health. And it was just a big uptick. But it wasn't a thing before then. And now it's insane how free people talk about it, which I love.
Yeah. No, I do. Caveat that.
I love and don't love. There are parts that I don't love about it.
There is. There's parts where, bless you.
Big yawn.
Big yawn. There's parts where I think folks use it as an excuse.
Yes.
Which I don't remember where this came from, but my sister, she has said this, Jenna. She has said this for years. She's like, trauma explains, but it doesn't excuse.
Yes.
No, but like, amen to that. But I feel that some folks do use mental health as an excuse. I'm like, don't get me wrong. There is debilitating mental health disorders.
Oh, absolutely.
I am not saying otherwise.
Nope.
But there are times where I get a little frustrated because folks are like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm just, this is just who I am. Like, this is just what it is. And I don't want to do anything. And I'm like,
this gives me an excuse to be a complete blunt asshole to you.
Blunt. Mm-hmm. But then if you say something, it's like, no, I'm just being honest. Or, hey, this is just how my brain works. And I'm like,
or if you say something similar back to them, it's how dare you.
Yeah, I've had experience with that in several regards. And I always had to tread carefully because I wanted to say, you know, hey, I feel for you, of course. I do not want anyone to feel miserable, to feel like an alien in their own brain. And as much as I can, you know, sympathize or empathize to a degree, I don't know what it's like in your head. And I am so sorry that this is how you're feeling. That being said, you exist with other people.
Yep.
And you cannot just be pushing your problems onto other people or causing problems because you are not, you know, communicating clearly about where you're at in your mental health. Because that is something that I have come across repeatedly, and I am a guilty offender. Like, I had to unlearn this habit, but I would base so much of my self-worth on what I could do. So I would bite off way more than I could chew every single project I did, whether it was school, work, or you name it.
Yeah.
And then inevitably, you can't get it all done. Like, you take way too much. It's not physically possible. And where I ran into that issue was, especially at work, I would take more than I could chew, and then projects wouldn't get done for clients, and then we have angry clients. I do my best
It's just a win.
to clearly communicate what's going on in my head to people in my life, especially if they are reliant upon me for something.
Mm-hmm.
I will let them know in the kindest way possible to be like, hey,
Yep.
I don't have the bandwidth to take more of this on because
Absolutely.
of X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
And like, I'm so sorry, or whatever it will be.
Yeah. But saying that you can't do something because mental health issues, I picked up a lot of patients like that, and it was some of the most mentally taxing calls I've ever been on.
Yeah. I have some clients like that, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I understand, but you have to help me help you.
Yep, and again, that's where we're parsing through all of this, which again, talking points. So maybe some of this is controversial, what we're saying, what I'm saying. We don't mean it to be. It's conversation here.
Yeah.
Like,
And
yes, let me help you. Help me help you.
Yeah. And we are not bashing mental health.
Oh,
We're not
God,
bashing
no.
any people. I mean, we understand. We're just letting out some frustrations, but again, it's nothing against mental health stuff or anything
No.
like that. So
No. And like, honestly, everyone should really take time to dive into your own mental health. Because you can be healthy, mentally healthy. Great. That is the goal. We want that.
yes.
But just like working out, it is an ongoing process. You don't get in shape and then just stop doing everything that you're doing.
I wish that was the thing.
Wouldn't that be fucking nice?
You mean I don't have to go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week?
Yeah, no, not so much.
I wish.
Right?
But I mean, and it's a lot of trial and error too with mental health. You have to
Yes.
figure out what works for you the best.
What works for you, and you have to be accountable for yourself.
Yes.
Because again, trauma and mental health, it can explain, but it doesn't excuse.
Yes.
Like, you can be, me for example, I'll put myself on blast. When I am at my lowest mentally, when I am overstimulated, bandwidth is gone, like I am stretched, I have a tendency to get very short and very snappy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't intend to. People who have worked with me on major projects when everything is on fire and you're trying to get something done, you've seen me at this point. And I try really hard now to acknowledge where I'm at with that and stop it before I get there.
Mm-hmm.
But in those moments, especially when I first started this job, and there was dumpster fires going on as you try to learn a whole new career.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. There was times where I was definitely very snappy. And it took one of my coworkers actually coming into my office, and she went, "Hey, what is going on? Because like, you can be mad, but that wasn't okay."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you're right. You are absolutely right. I am so sorry. Like, I should not be doing that." So I took accountability for my snappiness. And the hard part was, what I really wanted to say was, well, I was snapping because you didn't do this after I told you to do this. And like, this is a very easy task. But I'm like, no, that's not taking accountability. That's blaming somebody else. That's not going to help. So I had to really focus on like, okay, yes, I am sorry. I was doing this because of this, but that doesn't excuse me snapping at you. I am sorry for my behavior.
Yeah.
Can we, going forward, get this done? Like, what do we need to do? How can I help you get this thing done? Mm-hmm. And we got it done, and like, everything was fine. But I don't feel like that is a common response.
Not typically, no. A
No.
lot of people go on defense.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that, don't like interpret that as me saying I'm the standard. Because like, I went defense for 20 plus years leading up to that point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had times with a lot of my partners, working on a truck, 16 plus hours, one person, lots of calls. you're exhausted, you're both at your wit's end, and the one call comes and there's a miscommunication. And when we get Blake on here, there's a story I'm going to have him tell because both of us were basically just like biting each other, like basically just fighting each other like dogs at that point.
Yep.
Just going after each other. But, you know, also one of my biggest things that probably my last, what I would tell my whatever-year-old self, it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be upset.
Yeah.
Like, be upset, be frustrated, be mad. It's okay, but then you have to get over it.
Yeah.
You can't be mad forever.
Yeah. I have to remind myself of that because I can definitely hold a grudge.
There are certain people that I know that even if they're very minute little things, they will just hold a grudge forever. If it inconveniences them in whatever way, they will just hold that grudge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the difference between it's okay to have your anger, it's okay to be frustrated, versus saying it's okay to be petty.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there's a time and a place for petty.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Check out our toxic episode. I have a little section on that.
Yes.
But, like, it is a difference where you can acknowledge that you feel disrespected, that your boundaries have been broken.
Yeah.
And it's healthy to acknowledge that, both within yourself and with the other person, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But then it is moving on from that and deciding, how do you want this relationship or this situation going forward? Like, what can you control in it?
Yeah. Also, is that relationship worth patching up?
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Because sometimes it's not. You know, there are a lot of people that, what is that saying? A saying from way back when just blipped into my head. Some people come into our lives and for a little while and go. Others come and stay for a while and leave footprints in our hearts. And we're never the same. Something like that.
Yep. I've heard that one. A similar vein of your life is a book. Some characters are in every chapter. Some are only a couple, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, not everyone is going to be in your life forever.
Yep. And that's okay.
And it's okay. I remember I was always terrified of losing friends. I'm like, I have to be friends with this person forever. I have to blah, 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 blah. Well, turns out I only every once in a while talk to one person I went to high school with. And that's okay.
Same.
The people I went to college with, the first college, well, even my associates and bachelors, I don't talk to anybody from those.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends that I'm making in my master's program, but like, I'm not going to talk to all of them for the rest of my life, you know?
Yep. No, and it is hard. But that is also an understanding of the different types of friendships as you get older, where that is something I wish I could tell my much younger self, kindergarten through like really high school. It is value the relationships that deserve value, and understand that just because you may not physically see someone or talk to them every day, it doesn't mean the friendship is any less important to the both of you than someone you would see every day.
Yeah.
Because, like, I talked to really one person from high school. She's bridesmaid in my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And she lives on the East Coast. So, like, I see her on a good year, maybe twice a year. Maybe.
Yeah.
And she's so busy that we don't chat very often. But the quality of that friendship is we can just pick up right where we left off.
Mm-hmm. Well, and me and you used to do that, too.
Yeah, well, when we had long distance, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that was a lot, but then we'd also have, like, a 6 or an 8 hour phone call to catch up.
Yeah, it would just be one thing that would be like, oh, I should call Connie, and then the whole day goes by.
Yep.
Like 3 in the morning, we're like, I'm tired. Why am I tired? Oh,
that happens so many times.
it still happens. Not the 8 hours, but it still happens.
We just had a girls' night. What was it, last weekend? And we were up chatting until think you were here until 4 something?
I was not here till 4. I think it was 2:30 because I got home right at like 3.
Oh, it was at 3.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I ended up getting a second wind, so I was up until 5:30. That's why I thought it was later.
No, I was not here that late.
It's happened.
It has happened. I want to say the first day that we sat down to record for the podcast,
Yeah.
which is not episode 1, by the way.
No, that first episode was
No one will
rough.
see it.
Yeah. If we could tell, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, Connie and Jess, there's a lot of things we would tell them.
There's a lot of things that I would fix, but that's okay.
It's fine. It's
We
fine.
figured it out eventually.
We're still figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, I still don't 100% know all the editing and fancy magic stuff is what I'm going to call it, because I don't understand it yet.
Yeah, we're still learning lighting and obviously positioning and cutting, because you'll notice in our videos, it's like, okay, so she was with a pillow, and then the next, second, there's no pillow. Then there's a blanket, and then there's dog. There's a dog. Oh, God, we could do a whole episode of what would we tell our initial dog parent selves.
Oh, gosh.
All of the tricks and the tips.
So much. I got a cattle dog not knowing what a cattle dog was.
Yeah.
But I was willing to educate myself. So that's the big difference.
Right. And if you do want to learn more about Jess and Ruby's very, very interesting health journey, they do have a TikTok. It is
Jess and Ruby. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or the @ if you can't find us, the @ is jess.swan06. Yeah. She's cozy.
Cozy.
On that note,
I was going to say, we could just kind of spitball this into like a 3-hour thing.
we could.
And I'm sure there's plenty of things that we missed.
Oh, I'm sure. But then we're going to listen to this, take notes, and we'll have a part 2.
Oh, we will definitely have a part 2.
Absolutely. Yeah. But until then, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Our handles are all the same. We are at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and Chronicles with an S at the end.
Otherwise, let's say before we officially sign off,
Yes.
I'd be very interested in the comment section if you guys could comment what is something that you wish you could tell your past self at any age. Whether it's as simple as, for the love of God, make sure that you bring extra pants on picture day, to something maybe more heavy. Like, let's have a discussion about it.
Absolutely. We would love to read those, interact with you guys. Also, if you have any suggestions on topics that you would like us to, just kind of sit and chat about, please let us know. But until then, we will see you guys next time.
Adios.
Bye.